Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live in more than three dimensions? Let's embark on an intellectual voyage, one that will stretch the boundaries of your imagination and challenge your perception of reality. We begin by acknowledging our current understanding of the human experience as a three-dimensional existence. We navigate through life, conscious of our surroundings, with an awareness of depth, width, and height. But what if there's more? What if our perception is merely the tip of a multidimensional iceberg? We now introduce an intriguing concept, one that has been the subject of much debate and speculation in scientific circles and beyond: the idea of a 10-dimensional human. Imagine being able to exist in multiple places at once, experiencing time as a tangible entity, or even transcending the physical realm altogether. Prepare to journey beyond the familiar, into the realm of the 10-dimensional human. To understand a 10-dimensional human, we first need to comprehend what dimensions are. Let's start at the very beginning, the first dimension. It's a straight line extending infinitely in two directions. This line represents length. Think of it as a tightrope walker's wire, unyielding and unwavering, stretching from one point to another. Now imagine if our tightrope walker could step off the wire without falling. She steps to the side and finds herself on a new wire, parallel to the first. This is the second dimension. It introduces width. A flat plane, like a sheet of paper or a chessboard, is two-dimensional. It has length and width, but no depth. Our tightrope walker can now move forward, backward and side to side, but she's still limited to that flat plane. But what if she could leap off the plane entirely? This brings us to the third dimension, which adds depth. Now, our tightrope walker is no longer confined to the flat plane. She can jump, she can duck, she can climb. She's in a world that has length, width and depth. This is our world, the world as we know it. It's like a box with height, width and length. These are the dimensions we understand and interact with daily. We move forward and backward, side to side, up and down. We live and breathe in a three-dimensional world. But let's pause for a moment. Look around you. Everything you see, everything you touch, exists in these three dimensions. Yet, we are talking about a 10-dimensional human. It seems improbable, doesn't it? But that's the beauty of dimensions. They open up a world of possibilities that goes beyond what we can see and touch. So these are the three dimensions we live in. But what about the other seven? The fourth dimension and beyond are where things start to get really interesting. A tantalizing prospect, isn't it? Let's delve into this fourth dimension, a realm that is both familiar and profoundly mysterious. It's time. Yes, time, that incessant tick-tock that governs our lives, from the mundane to the extraordinary. We live in a three-dimensional world, moving about in length, width and height. But there's a fourth player in this cosmic ballet, a silent partner that's always with us, guiding our every move. That's time, our fourth dimension. It's not something we can touch or see, but it's always there, a constant companion on our journey through life. Time as a dimension is a little different from the others. We can move freely in space in any direction we choose, but time? Time is a one-way street. We're all passengers on this journey, moving inexorably forward from the past, through the present and into the future. But what lies beyond the fourth dimension? What if I told you that there might be even more dimensions hidden from our senses? These are the higher dimensions, realms that exist beyond our everyday experience. These dimensions could be curled up, compact, so small that we can't detect them, or they could be vast and expansive beyond our comprehension. The higher dimensions are a fascinating topic of study in theoretical physics. They could hold the answers to some of the biggest questions in the universe, from the nature of dark matter to the origins of the universe itself. But for now, they remain a tantalizing mystery, a frontier of human knowledge that we're only just beginning to explore. So time is the fourth dimension. But what would a human look like in the higher dimensions? That's a question that might seem outlandish, even impossible. But it's a question that we'll explore in the next scene as we delve into the concept of a 10-dimensional human. So stay tuned, because things are about to get really interesting. Imagine, if you will, a human who exists in 10 dimensions. Now let's take a moment to contemplate this idea. A 10-dimensional human. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But let's delve into this concept a bit more. In our three-dimensional world, we perceive length, width, and height. We move freely in these dimensions, and our senses have evolved to interpret and interact with them. But what would it mean to exist in 10 dimensions? In the fourth dimension, often considered as time, a 10-dimensional human would have the ability to navigate through time as easily as we navigate through space. They could choose to visit the past or the future, much like we decide to take a stroll down the street. In the fifth and sixth dimensions, things get even more intriguing. Here, a 10-dimensional human could explore different timelines and universes, branching off from any point in time they choose. They could witness the outcomes of different choices and actions, essentially exploring an infinite number of what-if scenarios. The seventh, eighth, and ninth dimensions add yet another layer of complexity. In these dimensions, a 10-dimensional human could traverse across entirely different universes, each with their own unique laws of physics. Imagine being able to experience a universe where gravity doesn't exist, or where time flows backwards. Finally, in the 10th dimension, this human would exist in a point that represents all possible states of existence. They would have a bird's-eye view of the entire multiverse and all its infinite possibilities. How would such a human perceive our world? It's hard to fathom, isn't it? Their experience would be vastly different from ours, not limited by the constraints of time or the laws of physics that we know. They would perceive an array of realities, each branching off into infinite possibilities. So, a 10-dimensional human would have a drastically different experience of reality than we do. Living in 10 dimensions would completely change our understanding of the universe. Imagine a world where we are not just three-dimensional beings, but 10-dimensional. Our current understanding of space and time would be utterly transformed. Instead of seeing the world in a linear way, we would perceive it as a complex, interconnected web of possibilities. In a 10-dimensional existence, we would have the ability to move not just forward and backward, left and right, up and down, but also across different dimensions. This would give us an unprecedented freedom of movement. We would be able to traverse vast distances in an instant, and even experience different points in time simultaneously. The concept of past, present and future would become fluid, as we could explore different timelines and possibilities at will. Our perception of reality itself would be vastly different. The laws of physics as we know them would have to be redefined. The very fabric of the universe would appear different to us. We would see the interconnectedness of all things, the unity of the universe, and the underlying patterns that govern its functioning. This would also have profound implications for our understanding of ourselves. We would have to rethink the concept of individuality. In a 10-dimensional existence, we would be interconnected with everything else in the universe. We would not be isolated entities, but part of a larger whole. Our actions would not just affect our immediate surroundings, but would ripple across dimensions, affecting the entire universe. But of course, such a reality is beyond our current comprehension. Our brains are wired to perceive the world in 3 dimensions. The concept of a 10-dimensional existence is mind-boggling, to say the least. It challenges our most basic assumptions about the nature of reality and forces us to think in entirely new ways.